From the infamous giraffe moment from the game to the final hospital shootout, let's take a behind-the-scenes look at Season 1 of The Last of Us. The hospital design, for instance. The production designer John Pano initially thought he'd have to build the set from scratch to make it match the scenes from the game. He didn't think there'd be any other way to accommodate the hallways and hail of gunfire that was going to play out before Joel saves Ellie. Also, considering that showrunners Craig Mazin and Neil Druckmann are heavily involved in the making of the series, their input couldn't be ignored. They made it clear that they wanted to follow the game closely, with Joel going through all the same places and passages. Luckily for Pano, he and his team found an abandoned hospital right outside Calgary. They went there, repainted it, and aged it. All those pretty yet eerie murals you saw in the pediatric wing, they added all of those. That was a very specific detail that stayed true to the game. Lighting in the hospital was another factor Pano paid special attention to. He closely considered where the electricity source would be coming from in the hospital. He came up with the idea that portable generators were supplying power, so they added a bunch of work lights, the kind you'd come across at a construction site, as well as strings of light. It all really added to the overall dark and moody vibe. They even put up some plastic barriers in the hallway, a nod to when the infected were being brought in and isolated. This was all great and all, but there was another scene that fans were super happy to see in the finale. The giraffe scene preceding the hospital sequence was just as perfect as fans imagined it to be.
What are you doing?
It's all right. Can you hurry up? Come on.
Fans who've played the game will know the importance of that special moment and scene in the story. It was kind of reminiscent of when Ellie was seeing the mall for the first time. The scene starts with the duo walking through a worksite with orange tarp coverings. Ellie comes across an opening in the building covered with gorgeous vines and a giraffe eating from them. The balcony she and Joel feed the giraffe from was perfect because it drew parallels to the game. The scene overall may have been a combination of a VFX stage, scenery, and location shoot. But get this, the giraffes were real. They were actually brought in from the Calgary Zoo. This was primarily done because of time constraints, which meant that the animals couldn't be CGI'd. But I, for one, am super happy with the alternative. And don't you worry, they were well taken care of. Pano's team spent over a month and a half setting up the green screen panels around the animals' enclosure, with keepers and trainers keeping them comfortable. The trainers worked with them to get them to eat out of a stranger's hand. So when you see Joel and Ellie feeding that one giraffe, it's all actually happening. According to Pano, that was probably the most complicated piece of VFX stage, scenery, and location they had to do, bringing their set to the zoo. Other than that, some of the actors also pleasantly surprised fans with their own BTS footage. Merle Dandridge celebrated the finale with a closer look at the bloater. Remember that insane 5th episode, Endure and Survive? That's where we got to see the bloater for the first time. It's essentially a type of cordyceps-infected creature that you can easily spot because of its enormous size compared to the other infected. The monster made its first appearance when Joel and Ellie were being pursued by Kathleen's people. The cars and weapons they were using were loud enough to awaken a whole coven of infected that had been dormant underground in the area. A sinkhole opened up, and in a terrifying scene, a horde of zombies climbed up from beneath the street. That's what prompted the bloater to crawl out from within the fire caused by the explosions Kathleen's people were using. Recently, though, Dandridge shared some behind-the-scenes pictures showing a far friendlier side of the terrifying monster. She shared pictures through her Twitter account, showing her side by side with the bloater, smiling widely. The pictures were captioned with her gushing over the incredible experience of being a part of something so wonderful. I'm just glad we got to see them too. This isn't the first time one of the actors has given us fans a treat like this outside of the show. show. Bella Ramsey also shared her own BTS images through her Twitter account. Hers was from the 7th episode, Left Behind. It showed Ramsey on set in some of the most prominent locations from the episode. That includes the merry-go-round inside the abandoned mall. The actress also shared a cute selfie of her posing with her co-star Storm Reed, who plays Ellie's best friend and love interest, Riley Abel. The episode followed Ellie and her relationship with Riley, who'd left the Fedra training facility 3 weeks before the events of the episode. It showed Riley taking Ellie to an abandoned shopping mall that became semi-functional after a power plant brought life back to the area. The girls have the most normal and memorable night of their lives, taking pictures in a photo booth, dancing around, riding on a carousel, and even sharing a kiss. Unfortunately, there's only so much normalcy you can have in the post-apocalyptic world. The episode ends with both girls getting bitten by an infected, and it's implied that Ellie has to end up killing Riley after she turns.
No, 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 no! No!
It was a pretty intense episode to say the least, so seeing some cute BTS pictures after all definitely helped. Shortly after the season finale aired, Pedro Pascal himself shared a few BTS moments of his own. His post even included a sweet blooper video from the episode as a warm thank you. Leave it to Pedro to make us feel all kinds of emotions on and off the show. The first 2 pictures he posted on Instagram are a reminder of Joel and Ellie's perfect chemistry. The characters on the show share a relationship that can be super hard-hitting at times. At the same time though, it can be extremely pure and wholesome. It's a lot like their relationship off the screen, as you can probably tell from the pictures. The duo clearly tries their best to keep things light, despite the dark subject matter of the show. The third picture shows Pedro sharing a sweet moment with showrunner Craig Mazin. The video, on the other hand, shows Pascal forgetting his lines and breaking down into laughter during the final episode's final scene. The actor captioned the post, "Beldro on the Hill," continuing to express his apocalypse-level gratitude to the cast, creators, and crew. As for the rest of the show, there are some BTS images that showcase the incredible VFX technology the team used. Everything from the decaying buildings, the overgrown foliage, and the buildings in the distance have been digitally inserted. Sure, there were a few things that were a result of great costume design and makeup, and things like the giraffe and some sets were all actually there, but most of it was all VFX technology. The impressive part is that the actors are using their imagination most of the time to picture a run-down Boston and place themselves in the mindset of survivors of an apocalypse. Despite all the effects though, there's a perfect balance between practical and visual effects. As for the visual effects that have been used, there's never a point in the show that you'll think to yourself, that looks fake. And that's all The Last of Us Season 1 BTS I've got for you today.